Hey, Dan Passarelli here. Well, looks like a fairly flat day today. I am recording this about an hour or so before the close, so maybe things will change. But one thing that I think has finally certainly changed is a little company that I like to call Nvidia. There's somebody out there, it's not necessarily me, but there's somebody out there who it looks like thinks Nvidia is finished. Toast. Let's take a look. So here we have our credit spread genius, which identifies basically when a professional trader makes a credit spread trade, like a really big one with a lot of conviction, a lot of research behind it, it pops up here. Now take a look at all these Nvidia trades. I mean, this is insane. This, first of all, the credit spread is the September 5th, 175, 177 and a half call credit spread. There's a couple variations of that here, actually. But what this means is that there's a trader who thinks that Nvidia is not going to go above 175. Now, earlier in the day, let's just look at earlier in the day here. They used the 177 and a half strike. They sold 10,000 of these, another 10,000 of them, another 10,000 of them. And then they got even more aggressive and they sold the 175, 177 and a half strike. Like I mentioned before, here's 5,000. Add these together, add these together. There's 5,000. Another 5,000. 6,000. There's, what does that come out to? About 50,000 call credit spreads. If this person's right, they stand to make millions and millions of dollars. And if they're wrong, they stand to lose millions and millions of dollars. Somebody has a lot of conviction, and they don't do that just because they're guessing. They do that for a good reason with a lot of research. Could it possibly be that Nvidia might finally be done? Now, I've talked a lot about their very high metrics, their PE ratio, everything. It's been very, very overpriced by fundamental metrics. What happens in those cases is either they make a lot more earnings in the future, and the earnings have been going up, well, actually, I mean, this quarter it was down from the previous quarter, but it went up last quarter. But it's not making the gains that are priced in there. So the other thing that happens is the stock falls to put that PE ratio back at a normal level. It's not a very long trade. This is just, a couple of days trade, but it did cross below the 50-day moving average. And we can see that the RSI is decidedly shooting down below 50. That's talking about some downward pressure right there. That can have a lot of influence over the market itself and the rest of the Mag 7 and especially AI stocks. Hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.